Aloha. Welcome to Light Drama Action. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And let's get to the content for today. Peace.
Before we begin, I want to offer a clear and firm warning. What you're about to hear contains graphic descriptions. This content is intended for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is strongly advised. And remember, all individuals mentioned in this video, including Mr. Combs, are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. If you're joining us for the first time, full summaries for days 1 through 26 are available on the video tab of this channel. Day 27 of the Sean Diddy Combs trial. The atmosphere was electric. Sean Diddy Combs sat at the defense table under a judge's stern gaze, flanked by his lawyers, as the prosecution unveiled new testimony. Special Agent Joseph Cerciello returned to the stand early Monday, June 23rd, and the courtroom held his breath. Cerciello spent hours laying out the nuts and bolts of the government's case, elaborate charts and records showing how Combs' empire allegedly handled every detail of the so-called freak-off parties. Flight logs, hotel invoices, and corporate credit card statements were displayed. One juror's blotter sketch captured the key message the jury saw. Combs texting his then chief of staff, Courtroom, "Hey KK, I need more baby oil." It was a blunt snapshot of the day's evidence. Combs commandeering supplies from lubricant to coconut water and vegetable soup for these marathon sexual orgies. Cerciello played audio recordings of Combs' own voice demanding amenities. In one dispatch, Combs' clipped voice barked, "Chalice, please. I'm gonna keep on calling y'all if y'all don't make sure I have everything I need," ending with an almost casual request for vegetable soup. Jurors watched numeric logs of how Combs had his assistants charter plane tickets and book hotel rooms for escorts and staff. A chart combined travel itineraries with Combs' text orders, and the prosecution made clear these were no trivial dinner reservations but a business-like logistics chain for Vice. Combs paying for women and men to jet to Miami, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and New York, and his team stocking rooms with IV drips, liquor, and even pets to clean up the evidence. As the agent spoke, the courtroom was unnervingly silent. The jurors sat stolidly behind their black sound attenuating headphones, hunched over the small screens that played only for them. Only they saw the explicit videos excerpted from the parties, about 20 minutes worth of freak-off footage from 2021 to 2022, darkly classified as explicit by Assistant U.S. Attorney Maureen Comey. Spectators strained to glean clues. One juror fiddled with an earphone cord, another glanced at the clock, but no one stirred. In similar evidence sessions earlier this week, one juror briefly turned away from the screen while the graphic video played. From time to time, Combs himself could be seen scribbling notes in the front row of his defense table. He even whispered to his lawyers, apparently signaling when he wanted them to pause questioning. Above it all hovered a tense quiet. The only sound was the scratch of pens and the hum of a projector. After lunch, defense attorney Tenny Geragos took aim. Geragos zeroed in on what Cerciello had omitted, showing the jury entire message threads that were cut from the prosecutor's charts. Pointing to the same phone records, she pulled up text that painted a different picture of Jane's consent. For every plea of "I need a break, I don't want to," attributed to Jane, Geragos highlighted messages the government left out, playful banter, and curvaceous emojis from Jane's phone showing she eagerly planned freak-off nights of her own accord. In an on-screen transcript, Cerciello was asked to confirm that Jane had previously texted Combs phrases like "I miss you," and even arranged meetings to do these hotel sessions on her terms. She underlined one exchange not on the prosecution's chart where Jane, after musing she might skip a trip, flipped and agreed, then wrote that she wanted to be there. "It's the classic switch," Geragos told the jury in an aside. "Judge, this goes to intent." Cerciello flipped through each page as Geragos pressed the point. If Jane texted that she didn't want to be used or locked in a room, why did she still follow orders? The prosecutor objected, but the judge let Geragos show jurors every side of the narrative. Earlier that morning, the prosecution had marshaled its other logistics witness, Brendan Paul, Combs' one-time assistant. Paul, granted immunity, described buying pills and even shopping at the hardware store for lube and baby oil on Combs' orders, then dressing hotel suites for freak-off parties. He said he never noticed Jane balking, contradicting the coercion narrative. Now, after Paul stepped down, Cerciello was the final domino to fall. Comey wrapped her direct examination of Cerciello much earlier than expected, and the courtroom broke for day's end. The agent's last acts had been reading lines from Jane's phone and replaying Combs' audio requests. The cross-examination would resume at first light. Outside the jury box, leading defense lawyer Mark Agnifilo reminded the judge that Combs would not testify. He said their case would be brief. The defense would rest without calling any live witnesses. The judge later warned he would have Combs confirm that decision on the stand if necessary, as is routine. Jurors will be instructed that a defendant's silence carries no bearing on guilt. Subramanian penciled in a final charge conference for Wednesday and scheduled both sides' summations for Thursday. Jurors were informed only that closing arguments would come after the defense presents whatever papers or charts it had. In the waning lights, tension crackled through the federal courtroom. Combs himself looked outwardly composed, his gaze steady as he zipped his jacket, occasionally stealing a glance at his lawyers preparing their exhibits. Around them, reporters gathered their notes as the guards began stowing evidence binders. The day's battle lines were clear. Prosecution evidence charted an orderly conspiracy of coercion, while the defense's cross-examination had tried to recast those facts as a consensual swinger lifestyle. With Cerciello's testimony nearly exhausted and Combs sitting tightly quiet, the final chapter of the trial, closing arguments, loomed just hours away. The jury would soon retire to deliberate, but first they would hear the lawyers' climactic pleas. The stakes remained as high as ever.